trying to get the folds in the clothes right now. So just the way the skirt is falling here. We're getting down to some more of the details, kind of setting up for the finish. We'll begin to work on the veil and getting some of the folds of the veil and working here and just start refining it. I won't be working on the features of the face yet until I get most of the veil and the folds established. Well, now we've got the front planes pretty well established. So I'm going to start doing the undercutting. So specifically, I'm going to start working right around the shoulders and the head, getting the back of the head done, following my line going across. Before I start the rounding of this, I like to get a flat plane going across. That kind of helps me with the symmetry. The other thing that helps with the symmetry is if I reestablish the center line. So that's the backbone going up, the center of the head coming down here. And then I'll connect the shoulders here with kind of a line that goes to the shoulders. And these two areas where the scapula sticks out a little bit, I'm going to do just kind of preserve a high points right there before I start the rounding. Now in this area here, what it is mostly the arm coming down, so I'm going to be moving that up. That's the elbow. That circle right there is the elbow, so I'm going to be rounding quite a bit off right here. So I'm setting up the face, and I'm roughing it out, putting back in my reference lines and checking the proportions, and maybe the eyes need to be moved up just a little bit more. So I've learned a few things about doing faces from some fellow wood carvers. One is Ivan Willock. I took a class from him, and one of the things that he suggests is when you're doing a face, not to use a V-tool, to use a veiner. A veiner, with a nice radius on, like this tool here. And that way you're creating soft lines. And the soft lines, this is specifically for doing a woman's face. So you don't want to create harsh lines with a V-tool by making very hard cuts and then having to soften them up later. So one of the things that he suggests is this veiner, and you're going in there and you're making these nice rounded, softer lines. I'm just raising the eyes just a little bit here. And then he points out that there's another mistake that many carvers make, is this eye cavity. They just take and they'll cut this thing hollow all the way across, so they concave it. And really there's a transition in the eye from concave to convex. So you don't want to follow through here. You're going to follow through on the top of the eye and then bring that top eyebrow down to it. So what I'm trying to do is keep the face soft as I'm creating these nice curves. Just trying to set up the structure of the face. Because if you create the harsh lines, the sharp lines, then you have to soften them up. So the top needs to go back a little bit more here too, to get more of the face to kind of stick out a little bit more. And then I'm checking the eye widths. The bottom of the nose, I think, needs to move up, maybe the lips up. Another thing about using a veiner, you've got nice rounded line, and that gives you a chance to adjust it. You're not putting a harsh line right there. So with that curve, you can change that line a little bit. So it's much easier to do if it's curved. Another thing that Ivan points out, Ivan does very good faces, and he points out that the nose is sticking out halfway and the other half of the nose is back on the face. So sometimes the tendency is to make the nose stick right out on the edge of the face where it's actually back into the face. So those are some tips that I'm remembering from Ivan as I'm doing the face. I'm going to take my gouge. Getting that roundness in. Initially we had that set up with a sharp point coming out here, that 90-degree angle, and so that's right where the tip of the nose is, and this is still back on that angle. We're going to probably move that back a little bit more to get more rounding in the face here. Soften these eyebrows a little bit here. And I'm losing my center line, but I will draw it back in. Center lines are good references. Okay, the eyes are going to extend out more, so the face is going. It seems narrow now because I haven't finished out the eyes yet. Lighting is so important. Right now I'm trying to smooth the face, so I move my lighting around so I can see the different facets of the cuts as I come in with the chisels. I do the smoothing with my chisels. It doesn't mush the wood down, keeps a nice cleaning, and I want some very subtle. I want it smooth, but I want to be able to still have some subtle facets showing. Here I'm going to keep the chisel marks of this that's covering around her face, her neck, and her shoulders. And that texture is going to be going this direction. The other texture is going, I'm going to have slight chisel cuts all over the veil, and so So we're getting into the finishing phase. So right now I'm coming down, it's pretty well roughed out, and I'm coming and doing the close to the finished cuts. And then I'll come back and do some more refining after I go down again. Woman's face is, especially a younger woman, is hard to do because you have really no lines. You're just looking at different shapes, and so you're trying to get a smooth skin, no lines, trying to get it looking soft. The skew chisel is also very good for getting right in and making some of the sharp lines needed right around the eyeball, the eyelids. If you have all facets of the light, it runs out all the line. So now I'm clearing out the spaces behind the arm and trying to match up the planes as we go through. So making sure that this plane And this plane is the same going up. And doing the same on this side. When you're doing a sculpture, one of the things you have to be concerned about, especially with an outdoor sculpture, is drain holes. And that's normally where you're coming behind the arms and dropping down through with the water. It's a little difficult to get in here to smooth out the cuts. Right now we're trying to just get the hole big enough. The back side of this arm is what I'm trying to smooth off right now. So we're coming to the end of the second phase of the carving. I'm doing this carving in 3 phases, and not every carving is done in 3 phases. I just chose to do this one like this. So the first phase, we were determining the planes and not doing any undercutting. We were carving from the front and the profile. And then in the second phase, we are doing the undercutting, and I am shaping the whole image coming down. I am just about done with that, with the shaping, and now the third phase I will be coming down doing all the finish cuts, putting in details, that sort of thing. And some of the things that I am working with here is the laminations. The point of this knee has got a glue joint right on it. So I think this is going to go back further because that is a little bit detracting. So I'm going to have to move that knee back to get rid of that spot. Then the other thing I have to be careful of, I would like to show more of the bare foot because Saint Clare walked in bare feet, her order did. And but I can't stick the toe out too far. I'm just going to have to give a hint of it because the grain is short and there's no strength. That could easily be broken off. So anything narrow sticking out is vulnerable to breakage. So if people are walking by and bumping it, the toes are going to be lost. So I need to protect it, and so that's why I need to keep some cloth over the top. I don't know yet if I'm going to be showing a part of the other foot here. For right now, I am going to smooth it out a little bit, and then in phase 3 I will decide that whether I'm going to show the other foot.